Good morning. On March 8th, people in every corner of the world will celebrate International Women's Day. It's an annual opportunity to highlight women's contributions in every domain of life, and more particularly, to affirm their strengths and achievements towards women's equal participation and rights. International Women's Day is a time for us all to reflect on progress, but also to build support and make meaningful commitments to the changes needed if we're ever to achieve genuine and meaningful equality. Gender injustice has characterized relationships, structures, institutions, belief systems, and practices for thousands of years across diverse societies and cultures. It has traditionally been so embedded that men's privileged entitlement to authority, access to opportunity, and protection of power was widely accepted as the natural order of things. In recent generations, women's movements across the globe to resist and challenge these norms have achieved remarkable and transformative changes, too often in the face of hostility. The origins of International Women's Day are in the socialist movements during the turbulent first decades of the 20th century. In 1908, on the last Sunday in February, socialist women in the United States initiated the first Women's Day when large demonstrations took place calling for the vote and the political and economic rights of women. The following year, 2,000 people attended a Women's Day rally in Manhattan, and that year, women garment workers throughout 13 cold winter weeks staged a general strike for better pay and working conditions. In 1910, Women's Day was taken up by socialists and feminists throughout the country. In 1917, in Russia, International Women's Day was of great significance, for it is a flashpoint for the February Revolution. On March 8th, women workers in Petrograd held a mass strike and demonstration demanding peace and bread. They called for an end to the Tsarist system and Russia's participation in the war. The strike movement spread from factory to factory and effectively began an insurrection. In 1922, in recognition of women's role in the 1917 uprising, Lenin declared that March 8th should be designated officially as Women's Day. Given this history, it's not surprising that International Women's Day was largely associated with socialist and communist countries until 1975, when it was celebrated as part of the United Nations International Year of Women, followed in 1977 by the UN General Assembly's resolution proclaiming United Nations Day for Women's Rights and International Peace. More than a century after the establishment of International Women's Day, despite significant developments, gender equality is still far from being a reality, and the need for peace and bread is as desperate and urgent as ever. We have to mind the gender gap in our own societies and around the world. International Women's Day presents a challenge to us all. Let's reflect, pray, pledge for radical transformation of the current world order. All evidence is that gender equality leads to better decisions, fairer policies, more participation, prosperity, and peace. So let's work for equality. Thank you today for Cantabile for their music and to Hannah Noyes for canting for us. We begin with a reading. Please stand.
The first reading is from Isaiah chapter 2. The word that Isaiah, son of Amos, said concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In days to come, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and shall be raised above the hills, and shall stream into it. Many people shall come and say,
Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that the Lord may teach us the ways of the Lord, and that we may walk in the Lord's paths.
For out of Zion shall go forth instruction, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
The Lord shall judge between the nations, and shall arbitrate for many peoples.
They shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks.
Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. O house of Jacob, come, let us walk in the light of the Lord.
Peace building, to me, isn't ending a fight by standing between two opposing forces. It's healing those victimized by war, making them strong again, and bringing them back to the people they once were. It's helping victimizers rediscover their humanity so they can once again become productive members of their communities. Peace building is teaching people that resolving conflict can be done without picking up a gun. It's repairing societies in which the guns have been used, and not only making them whole, but better.
God, the refuge you offer is no hiding place from the world. It is a sanctuary for survivors, where you warm us with shared experience and kindle in us a passion to struggle against cruelty, exclusion, and oppression. Your wings lift us high with hope and laughter. Soaring above loneliness and pain, we see a vision of what might be. So let us celebrate the adventure of women who act with courage and perception to lighten our way.
This is the light of women who have struggled to build bridges of hope, justice, and reconciliation in a world of poverty, suspicion, and war, as peacemakers, politicians, community campaigners, and good neighbors. For this we praise you and claim the activist power to dream dreams. This is the light of women who have shattered the silence of violence by speaking out in the face of indifference and by offering places of safety in which fears banish and self-esteem is affirmed.
This is the light of untold women's lives, shining through hardship, sustained in hope, cherished in tenderness, poured out in passion, glowing with glorious life-giving love. It is the light of our mothers and grandmothers, our sisters and daughters, our friends and partners and lovers. It is the light of refuge and adventure.
For this we praise you and bless each other and claim the power of women to live in freedom, justice, and wholeness.
Spirit of love, under your strong and tender wings, there is refuge for all who are exploited, harassed, patronized, demeaned, and abused. Shield, nurture, and restore us to wholeness and integrity in our personal and corporate lives. In your shelter, let us create a safe place to be ourselves, to explore new possibilities, to share friendship, and to sustain each other in the struggle for liberation. Amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will